AITA for not sharing medical history before being pranked. Hey yo, I'm a schizophrenic. Started when I was 22 and will last till I die. I'm active in schizophrenic communities, go to groups, the works, but I'm a fairly private person to most people, including my friends. It's fairly common for people to think I'm eccentric. Comes with the turf, due to some of my habits. Those habits include not going to parties or other places with lots of people, suddenly deciding to do something. I have to be protective not to go or do certain things if I think a delusion might be coming on. Saying the occasional odd quip, normal schizophrenic stuff. Some friends thought it would be funny to make it seem like I'm going crazy as a group. They would individually wear something silly like a wizard hat or dinosaur costume, T-Rex blow-up costume, to a group event, or say something totally out of the ordinary and pretend like it was normal. Police like to track people like you. COVID is just a way to microchip you. These are very real scary thoughts to me. I would ask members of the group if they had concerns about these conspiracies or weird garb from the other members, but they all acted like they had hung out with that particular member that day and I hadn't been involved. I was really scared that this could have been a massive delusion morphing into a full psychosis. So I preemptively checked myself into a hospital to stop myself from potentially hurting myself or diving further into the rabbit hole, common in schizophrenic community. I was so scared my medication stopped working. No one had heard from me for a few days while I was in the hospital, and when I checked out, I confided in one of them about what had happened. I got a really long apology explaining what had happened, and I blew up at them. I've ignored attempts from others trying to apologize and have no desire to talk to them again. So, AITA for not previously stating that I am a schizophrenic? The consensus is not the a-hole. Edit. People have been asking to post the length of the prank, around 3 weeks. Edit 2. Thank you for the awards and stuff, but I really want to highlight some of the messages that I've gotten. I'm at around 150 messages and counting, and I'm trying to respond to the ones where I can hopefully offer insight. Resources that I found helpful r/schizophrenia. For groups, just Google schizophrenia support groups in my area. Something will pop up, and when you actually get there, someone will have a further list. You get what you put into groups. You don't have to talk your first couple of times, but no one will look at you with that batshit look if you say, reality check, is there a bird in the room? Or something in that regard. It happened once, and the audible sigh of relief from 8 other people and the laughter that followed was hysterical. Medication helps so much. It's the difference between being able to go for a walk with my dog and staying in bed all day. But it takes time. So many people have asked what drug and dosage a loved one should go on. I cannot answer that. There are so many drugs out there and different dosages. I can tell you that you probably will not have a noticeable difference in behavior in 2 weeks after trying a medication. You start small and work your way up to a therapeutic effect when it actually helps. It might take some time to actually start feeling human again. Not every medication is meant for every person, but don't give up. Top comment. NTA. Even if you didn't disclose your medical history, they knew enough that saying those things would F you up. If a prank doesn't leave both parties laughing, it isn't a prank, it's bullying. Edit. Thank you for all the awards. A response to this comment. A prank is leaving plastic flamingos on a friend's lawn or something harmless like that. That wasn't a prank. When it comes to pranks, confuse, don't abuse. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Another response for OP. Oh honey, this breaks my heart. My partner is schizophrenic and it's hard enough on its own without some group of AHs. Deciding it would be fun to collectively gaslight you. Please go with your gut and never talk to these AHs again. As far as whether not telling them ahead of time makes you an AH, maybe in some alternate reality where schizophrenia stigma didn't exist. Also, I have never even heard of a group of friends doing this particular prank in mass. So I don't know how you could have anticipated this happening, because for the most part, this doesn't happen. I'm proud of you for going to the hospital when you felt you needed to. That's a hard thing to do. A lot of people look back at friends they had at your age and can't believe they ever put up with such an immature pack of ages. You'll meet better people, and hopefully some of your ex-friends will learn a lesson and become better people in the future. Better friends. A response to this commenter says, I don't know why, but your comment gives off of mom vibes. Update to the story. Hey yo, I had a few folks message me over the last couple of months, the latest tonight. It touches me that so many of you still message me to see if things are going well, so I wanted to update people en masse. Life is going phenomenally. I axed the friend group and have since been kicking butt. I realized that if my close friend group was consistently putting me down or taking advantage of me, who else could be? The biggest answer was myself. I stopped doing things I enjoyed to invest in people that took joy in hurting me. Turns out it went so much deeper than gaslighting. I got 2 new hobbies, woodworking and brewing. I absolutely love them both and have made friends in those communities. I started cooking instead of takeout, and I met a woman who's not my girlfriend at the local market, and we do most things together now. I realized that my job had been taking a huge advantage of me. I worked significantly harder and longer hours for less pay than the employees under me. Ain't that the truth at most places now? After I transitioned to taking better care of myself, I successfully created a resume that outlined my successes. Recognizing those successes took me quite a bit of effort. I got a new job in higher management for significantly more money. I'm also going to buy a house this December with a yard for my dog and I. Nothing big, just a nice one bedroom with a large yard for my buddy and I to play fetch in. So thanks Reddit, owe you one. Never could have made life improvement if it weren't for an external force. Top comment here. Wow, I absolutely remember your original post as someone who is struggling with mental illnesses. They were so completely out of line, but never forget who got you out of that dangerous situation. You. You've been working on living a stable life long enough to know that something was off and your health was number one. Keep realizing your worth and living a kick-ass life. Next story. AITA for telling my son he deserved his girlfriend breaking up with him. The consensus is surprising, not the a-hole. So my son had a long distance girlfriend recently for about 2 years. She was great, a really nice girl, and we all loved her, welcomed her with open arms. She was flying here constantly to visit him, like a weekend a month, and he didn't lift a finger to go visit her. I tried talking to him about it several times and told him he should really start looking into flying over to her instead of expecting her to do all the traveling. He said no. My wife probably had something to do with it, as she constantly told him she was afraid of him flying. I spoke to them both, and I spoke to them both and said this girl is great for him. She was willing to move over to our country too, but said that there was one condition, and that was he'd have to fly over to her country too, which is fair enough. He said no. He didn't want to fly or travel anywhere. My son was becoming lazier and lazier, eventually telling his girlfriend and us that he was perfectly fine never traveling anywhere, including holidays, etc. Last week she told us she dumped him. I went on her Facebook page and we're all still friends. She wrote us an apology letter about how she's upset it didn't work out, but these things happen, so we're on good terms. And it looks like she's with the new guy already. Me and my wife have no doubt that she was seeing him whilst still in a relationship with my son. I confessed to them both that I actually agree with her decision and he should have expected it. He did not treat her properly, and I hope he learns his lesson for the next one because he needs to make more of an effort. I said he deserves it for his lack of effort in the relationship and for essentially just allowing this girl to spend all her money and time coming here all the time. Wife and son are very upset that I said this. Very, very upset, and my wife says I'm being horrible. AITA. I stand by what I said. Top comment says, NTA, that's the truth. What age is he? Edit. You say he's 24 in another comment. Definitely not the a-hole. If he is this lazy and has no plans to travel, what's his plan for leaving the house? Living with parents is great to save money, but he doesn't seem to be the type so far to actually get up and get out eventually. Next comment, NTA, it's the truth he needs to hear. I'm more concerned about the reaction of your wife. Does she enable your son's laziness? OP says, yes, lol. He's a proper mummy's boy. I want him to just grow up, to be frank. He's 24 now. NTA, he's been too lazy with the relationship anyway. The girl deserves someone better, and your son needs to know that it takes effort to make a relationship work. OP says, agreed. That's why I said I'm actually happy for her and hope this new guy treats her well. She was really very nice. Unless OP's leaving something out, definitely not the a-hole. AITA telling my parents to pay me back my college tuition if they want a relationship. I was raised by parents who believed, religiously and just culturally, in rigid gender roles. Dad should work, mom should stay home with the kids. I'm the only girl and have 3 brothers. Because of their expectation, I'd stay home with the kids. They never valued my education, educational achievements, or emphasized things beyond domestic skills. I'm the second youngest. By the time I was in high school, my 2 older brothers had gone to the college of their choice, with my parents fully covering tuition, books, an off-campus apartment, and other living expenses. They eventually did the same for my younger brother. I was told I wasn't allowed to apply for college. I did so in secret and got accepted with a partial scholarship. I didn't tell them I was moving out until a week before I left, with essentially nothing but what a few friends gave me that their parents bought for them for college. I took engineering and had to work, take on debt, and struggle. My parents and I had barely spoken for years. I'm married now and expecting our first child, and they asked to meet up. We met at a park, and they said they were sorry if they caused me pain, but would like a relationship now. I asked them specifically what they were sorry for. They wouldn't elaborate and just said they wanted to move forward. I said that was sufficient. In the end, this is funny. In the end, I said they could prove they were sorry by forwarding me the 100K my degree and college expenses were, just like they did for my brothers. My mom burst into tears. My dad said I wasn't being serious, and I just left. Since then, I've been getting calls from my brothers telling me that I'm being immature and hurtful. I don't think so at all. I feel like that's a fair request. Let's see what the commenters say. Top comment is NTA. I from another engineer from a family filled with rage that she has all the talent that the boy was never up to. As far as I can see, your answer to them was perfect. It was very fair, and if they have fixed their appalling bigotry issues, they would be falling all over themselves begging you to take the money. Since they have clearly not fixed their bigotry, you don't need them around your child. Never ever poison children by allowing bigots in their presence. No exceptions. That includes your bigoted brothers. Edited to add, I have a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate all in engineering. You have no idea how angry this makes me. Hopefully you will too, and we can all watch the bigots faint from sheer rage together. Bwahaha. Someone's response to this comment? Exactly. They aren't sorry for how they treated OP, they just want to be able to have access to their grandkid. Another response to OP? NTA, that's generic, sorry you're upset, not apology. They are just around now because they want to influence the baby. The 100K ask is fair if they have the means to pay. A response to this comment? And even if they don't, they somehow made it work for the other 3 siblings. That said, OP, what are you... OP, what on earth are you thinking letting these people around your kids? She's not. I think that's the point. AITA for sleeping naked on top of the covers to teach my flatmate's girlfriend a lesson. New to Reddit, please bear with me. So I, 21-year-old guy, live with my childhood best friend, 22, also a guy, and have done so for 2 years now. Up until last week, things were perfect between us. However, he recently got a new girlfriend, 23, lady, and she honestly seems absolutely great except for one thing. She seemingly has a complete aversion to knocking. She and I have quite a lot in common, and I actually like spending time with her. However, it bugs the hell out of me when she just barges into my room without knocking first. Now, she's never walked in on me doing anything untoward. I'm usually just chilling on my bed or studying at my desk. However, on at least 7 separate occasions now, she's done it first thing in the morning to ask if I want coffee. I sleep naked. I sleep naked. Every time prior to the last one, I've been under covers and she hasn't seen anything. I always point out that she could have, and she just giggles and says, but I didn't. When she stayed over last week in order to make my point, I intentionally slept on top of the covers. Sure enough, she barges in at 7 a.m., begins to ask if I want coffee, and sees my you-know-what. She immediately backed out of the room and didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. My mate later pulled me aside and said that I was bang out of order, accused me of deliberately exposing myself, and pointed out that I'd threatened to do it before. I literally just said, okay, but what if I had no covers and you saw everything before? They're now framing this to others that I'm some sick creep who intentionally got naked and lay in wait of her because that's how I get my rocks off. And I'm kind of seeing how it came off that way. AITA for doing this. The consensus is not the ale. Top comment. NTA. She knew it was a risk when she barged in. How is she not the pervert? Also, have you considered getting a lock? OP responds, considered it. Unfortunately, the lease doesn't allow it. What? NTA. Do these people not realize how crazy they sound? You were naked in your own room? You are out of order, mister. If they are the sort of people who then go around telling people that you are some sick creep, they are not your friends. So true. AITA for switching to regular milk to prove my lactose intolerant roommate keeps stealing from me. Me and 2 other guys share an apartment together and we split all the bills. The only thing we don't split costs on is groceries. Everyone is in charge of buying their own food and we don't touch whatever doesn't belong to us in the fridge. We put our names on everything so no one gets mixed up. This issue has been going on for almost a year and I'm sick of it. One of my roommates, R, keeps stealing my food. I get home from work and containers of my leftovers are sometimes missing. They have my name written on it. Or my stuff finishes too quick. My gallon of milk, for example. I buy almond milk because I like the taste, but it seems to finish after a week even though I've only drank it once or twice. I confronted R about this lots of times, and that's caused a lot of arguments. He outright denies it and tells me that I'm crazy even though it's so obvious. My other roommate and I carpool together because we both work at the same time, early morning shifts, around the same area so I know it's not him. It's always after we get back home and R's already left for work that I notice my food's gone. My roommate also had a similar problem, but not as often as I do. I'm guessing because R doesn't like what he buys. The thing is, R buys a lot for himself and is even more stingy about his food. He will literally point out what's his when he comes back from the grocery store and tells us not to touch it. Last week my milk was nearly empty again and I got fed up. I went to the liquor store and bought regular dairy milk. I drank what was left of my almond milk and refilled the gallon with the one I bought. This was to catch/prove R is the one stealing since he's lactose intolerant. The next day, Saturday, we get back from work and R is pissed. He yelled at me that he was stuck in the bathroom for 40 minutes with diarrhea because of my milk. He was using it to make a shake. I only responded with, "So then you're the one who's been stealing." He freaking exploded. Yeah, he admitted that he sometimes drinks my milk and eats my food, but he was more mad that I switched milks than the fact that he was caught. I told him I wouldn't have done that if he just stopped taking my stuff from the fridge. Or at least told the truth instead of trying to make it seem like I was making it up. My roommate backed me up and thought it was kind of funny that he got payback from stealing from us. It's a little tense right now, and my roommate told me R is trying to convince him to agree to kick me out. Little does he know we're both looking to move somewhere else together, because we are sick of this stuff. I told some buddies what happened, and a few of them think I'm the a-hole for that. I feel like I'm not in the wrong here. He was taking my food and not even owning up to it, and I wanted to prove it. Does that make me the a-hole? The consensus is not the a-hole. Top comment. NTA. As you said, if R wasn't stealing your food, he wouldn't have had a problem. A response to this comment. Also, it's not like it's a life-threatening allergy. It causes a minor, if smelly, inconvenience. NTA, it's your food. You could have put your medication in it, or even your pet's medicine into it. You could have put a laxative in it, and even syrup of Ipecac. And I would still say NTA. When people steal food, lie about it, and don't replace it, they reap what they sow. Food is expensive, especially milk substitutes. Without replacing the food, he was essentially stealing money from your wallet. OP responds, "Oh yeah, it really is. I try to buy from grocery stores that sell all organic, so it does get pretty expensive." AITA for telling my girlfriend to shut the F up after she insulted my sister's thighs. Of course, the consensus is not the a-hole. I'm 30 and my 12-year-old sister is living with me right now because mom and pops are vulnerable, so it made more sense for me to care for my sis for the time being. She's a really great kid, and to be honest, I feel in a lot of ways like she's my own kid because my mom and dad don't speak English, so I kind of had to raise my sis in ways that they couldn't. Hard to explain, but anyone with a secondary culture will get what I mean. My mom and dad are great parents, but having an English speaking person to guide you through stuff when you live in an English speaking country is invaluable, in my opinion. And my sister trusts me with stuff she wouldn't necessarily trust my parents with. Anyway, my girlfriend was FaceTiming me, and my sister walked past in shorts and a t shirt because it's hot. My girlfriend waited till my sister had left the area, but not the room, and made a face and said, "Maybe feed her less, OP. Her thighs are kinda chunky." I saw red and told her to shut the F up, just came out of my mouth, and immediately ended the call. My sister's a little chubby, but for F's sake, who says stuff like that about a 12-year-old girl? Literally, everybody I know has been texting me that I'm a POS boyfriend, and that how can I disrespect my girlfriend like that? I'm expecting an apology from her, but to my shock, everybody's expecting me to apologize. So Reddit, AITA. The girlfriend is definitely the a-hole. I don't even have to read the comments, but let's see what the top one is. NTA, 12-year-old girls are incredibly vulnerable to body image issues. You're absolutely right to shut down such comments immediately. Of course.
Please support me by liking and subscribing.